really lucky to have been a part of the maths cluster. It's changed my teaching so much. I'm really passionate about maths. I have lots of new ideas and new activities to do with the kids, and I'm not so much explicit instruction, just like Belinda. Like, we kind of just are more flexible with our teaching, and the kids are really passionate about maths. Every day we start with an open-ended question, and they love it because they can access it at every single level. And then mathematical language has increased as well. They love like debating with each other about what's right and what's wrong, and they love like the success criteria where they have to argue and kind of defend their answer of why it's a 0, why it's a 1, 2 or a 3. And yeah, we just really love math. We love like our games to begin with, and just having fun and delving deeper. Yeah.
This journey doing the cluster meetings has been really great for me in that I've completely changed my pedagogy and the way I teach maths. I'm a lot more confident with teaching my maths lessons now, and I love hearing my kids say that they love maths. They get super excited when we start our lessons, and for me that's just icing on the top of the cake.
So, Christine, around a year and a half ago when we started this numeracy project, when you came on board, we really looked at the traditional models that we'd used around the show me's was a 0, 1, 2, a 3-point scale. And we decided as a cluster team we'd go for a 0, 1, 2 and 3, with the difference between the 2 and 3 being, is it correct, but also is it an efficient model, and are you able to easily explain how you got that, got the answer. And I think that's been a real big difference in the way we're marking as a whole school. What you are also seeing is the teachers in their classrooms really explaining the difference between a 2 and 3, and the students getting to see other people's examples and their own students' peers' examples of what a 0, 1, 2, 3 could look like, and really understanding that. How have you been implementing that in your classroom?
Well, I think I've found that putting the kids in the groups of the 1, 2s and 3s and then getting them to work with other groups, they're really able to see the difference and then being able to work towards that. And I think a lot of kids too always thought they were just right and they didn't have to go further. So the explanation is a really big thing that has to often come with it, and sometimes the accuracy and just giving that extra information.
And that's what I've seen with teachers, and being in your class, Christine, is really saying, do you think that's it? Do you think that is a 3? And the kids will come back and say, oh, actually no, I need to go back and revisit how I worked that answer out. It wasn't efficient enough. I couldn't use that in another area in my mathematics. And I've also seen students actually bringing that conversation into other subject areas around some of their learning as well, which has been pleasant to see.
Yeah.
I've been using the Show Me data as a very helpful tool this year, just as a way of accessing the students' prior knowledge and things like that, and then using it to inform my planning so I can easily identify strengths of the students, but also areas of weakness, and then looking at groupings and things like that as well, which has been great.
The things that I've been doing differently since finding out all about the work with Rob Prophet-White is starting my mornings off very differently to what I used to start them off. Basically, I start the morning with an open-ended question on the board with the students, and depending on how I feel for that day, what groupings I use. So sometimes the children choose their groupings, sometimes I choose the groupings depending on pre-testing, and then we go about and do the activity, which has changed my classroom. It has changed the way I work, it's changed the atmosphere of the classroom, it's changed the students' attitude towards their maths. They're much happier, they're excited, they sometimes cheer when we start to do an activity. The discussion that's coming out of the children is amazing, and their confidence to report back their findings and to communicate their mathematics and their knowledge.
The two things that I've found really beneficial in my classroom are the number talks and learning the language of maths. And these two things combined are amazing. in my classroom I have a word wall, a maths word wall, and then whatever we're discussing, whether it's addition, we'll brainstorm the words that we need to use, put them on the board, and then I become more of a facilitator and sit on the side and put tally marks as they use the words, as they're discussing and using the words, which encourages them to use more, which tells me we're on the right track.